All right, so we are back, and uh, just like we said in the last video, that I was really eager to hear about the alien. So let's hear about the alien from the creator of the alien and the alien herself.
Oh, well, okay. Yes, this is in fact the alien because I think now I'm feeling even more like an alien than ever before. And that's the subject of a different story. And if I were to go into that story, perhaps YouTube would deplatform me like it does to a few people. So I'm not going to take that risk.
All
So
right.
maybe if I'm going to talk about the present alienation setup, I'll start an
Mm-hmm.
account in Rumble and invite all of you to that. And we can talk there peacefully, whatever comes to
Absolutely.
our head. So that's for the
Yes.
future. Right now, let's be nice as we can, considering we are aliens. Everyone talks about
Absolutely.
these aliens, nasty aliens coming,
Mm-hmm.
the aliens are coming. Well, the aliens are here, they're right here in your midst. So tell me, what would you like to know about the alien?
Um, Tell me about the characters. I mean, you see, you said that you covered a lot of aspects, not only the aspect of from a perspective of a child, but also from the perspective of a teacher, and probably I'm just guessing that at some point of your life you have incorporated the characteristics of that teacher,
Yes, there was
and
one teacher and the
also about the oppression in the different sectors of the society at that point of time, which you highlighted at that point of time. So yeah,
I think the biggest oppression is the wall.
the walls.
The walls. And
Yes,
somewhere in the play, the walls dissolve. The walls are broken down. The walls between
exactly.
boys and girls, the walls between teachers and students, ultimately the walls between the parents and the children,
Right.
which is the teacher, so to say, opens the door to the you know or should I say melts the wall which has been there for so long between the parents and the child. So in the end, it's win-win for everybody.
Right.
So, starting with Vijay and Aparajita, they set the tone, and
Mm-hmm.
everybody wins, including the bad teacher, who, with the innocence of a 13-year-old, everybody is
Mm-hmm.
reformed, everybody is forgiven, everybody lives happily ever after, and everybody finally stands on the school stage and is part of the school band.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah,
Okay, there was a school band as
there
well.
was a school band as well. There wasn't a school
Okay.
band, but these two siblings are musicians. Basically, they have
Okay.
nothing better to do. I mean, it's like parents are rich. So
Okay.
get us, daddy, get us a guitar. And like, typically daddy hands out stuff. Mummy says, get results from the school. Get results in your exams. That's all mummy is bothered about. And then mummy goes out for her
Mm-hmm.
whatever, her cocktails or whatever. Daddy is the one who, daddy holds the purse. I mean, daddy brings in the bacon. So
Okay.
mummy is having a free ride. So, and basically the cook feeds them and the driver drops them to school. That kind of scene. Very typical
Okay.
setup of well-to-do people of those days. So, like, they
Yeah.
share more with the cook and the driver than with the parents. But
Ah.
anyways, from
Okay.
somewhere a guitar turns up. So instead of studying this, these people are dabbling with that, playing with that guitar and writing songs.
Okay.
So that's one thing I
Okay.
showcase. There's agency there because you see, I was put in music classes of different sorts, and I learned what I learned from those music classes, but then some part of me would rather have been rebellious. So, like when I played the piano, I learned the piano,
Hmm.
and I was
Hmm.
also like, there was a part of me which just played around on the piano and sort of wrote little tunes. But I didn't go very far with that because somehow I don't know. I had a lot of mental limitations in the way. I mean, I was not really very good. I think I should have stayed with singing. I should have gone deeper into singing, or maybe I needed to awaken something else in me when it came. I think I needed to listen to a lot more music, and that opportunity was not there in those days. Yesterday, I was watching that unofficial Utopia interview, and you were talking about how, that music reaches you now, and your music also reaches the other.
Yes.
And you see, music
Yes.
doesn't
I
have that
mean,
reach. So if we had a well-to-do friend, they got some of these records, LPs.
hmm. Hmm.
They were not affordable for middle class kids.
Exactly.
So this sibling pair, because they are rich kids, they managed to get hold of that stuff,
Okay.
and therefore they become, in a sense, they become the. If I remember the story right, I'm probably just rewriting the story from where I am now, with my recollections. But I would imagine that they therefore extended their bounty to the other
Hmm.
kids, except that their parents were not very welcoming or nice.
Okay. Okay.
So they do two things. One thing is that they boycott the class. They stay
All
out of
right.
class. The other thing
Hmm.
is that they run away from home.
Okay.
They run away from home and they camp they literally camp in the school field.
Yeah, that is pretty evident from, from the perspective of a 13-year-old kid,
Yes,
fantasizing
yes,
running away
yes.
from home and
And
camping
the
in the woods.
point is that they're sneaking there in that, sneakily camping there in the school field, and sort of the
Hmm.
good teacher finds them and finds out what's
Ah,
going on, like what the hell is going on? What are they doing after school hours? And
right.
fortunately, the school doesn't have those kind of very strict hours, as in, out of bounds, you can't roam in the field. My mother said her school was very liberal, oddly enough. It was a Catholic school
Really?
run by nuns, but at the same, she said that you could, you could roam around all over the school. And she roamed around happily. And once she got into a very marshy spot of the school, where
Okay.
her feet started sinking down into, apparently, I don't know what exactly, why there was a marshy patch in the school, because the school was in the
Okay.
heart of the city. But I
Hmm.
don't know about, the geography of that terrain in those days. I understand some parts of that locality were pretty low lying, like the place where my mother's land was. I was
Hmm.
told there were rice fields there, so I would
Okay.
imagine it would be low lying. So, like, when my mother built the house,
Hmm.
in later years, certain instabilities crept into the foundation
Okay.
because there was a
Because of the
lot of
previous,
water there. There was a lot of
right.
water there. So I can imagine her school ground, some part of it could have been that way, marshy terrain,
Might be.
because her school was a few doors away from the house.
Yeah.
The house that she finally built, like,
Okay.
was already she was in the school from the age of 8, and I think when she was 10 years old, they moved into this new house.
Okay.
This house
Okay.
that was this beautiful house, which she sold in 1980,
Okay.
which had the neem trees in it.
Okay.
And
All right. So I have another question.
yes, ask all your
That
questions.
is, yes, that is, this is where we are talking about, we are just talking about the, the perspective of the kids and this teacher. the good teacher
Hmm.
and their relationship among each other. That's what we are talking about. But
Hmm.
you also mentioned about the, mm, how I said that some people want to get rich, and you said that you covered that as well.
Hmm.
So that is something. I mean, how are those things related to the alienation of the kid, and uh, how is that there?
The interesting thing is you are rebelling against it, but you're also making the best use of it. You won't have that guitar if your parents were not rich.
Right, right.
And that's
So,
something that you don't give a lot of thought to when you're that age.
right.
You are not thinking
So
about,
you're covering both of the perspectives.
yes, you're not really thinking about what the guitar costs.
Right.
But you know that you know it doesn't cost much for your rich father. And you have something in that sense, you have something against your rich father. For being, for being the father who sort of pacifies you with the riches.
Mm-hmm.
At the same time, he wants results from you in school. So what happens? You get very mixed signals.
Exactly.
You get mixed
Exactly.
signals from everywhere. You get mixed signals from teachers. Teachers say you should run like mad in the field. Then when you get into class, suddenly put sit with your legs together. You're a girl.
Exactly.
But
This
who
is the thing
taught
that we were
any
talking about, no?
the double standard? And this double
Yes.
standard is so endemic. It's just this double standard just runs in our blood. And very tragically, this double standard also ran in my family. And I think this double standard runs in all families because somewhere,
Yes, it's true. Like it sometimes gets hard to escape the
somewhere
prejudices
this double
that
standard
has been there for a long time.
this double standard in some ways a survival tool. You are hanging on to one standard while your heart and your mind tell you to set a different standard, and in your
Exactly.
insecurity you hang on to that other standard.
Exactly.
You in some way are wanting the best of both worlds, and
Hmm.
sometimes when you are not ready to sacrifice one, you end up getting the worst of both worlds.
Exactly.
And in a sense, that's what the parents get. They get children who run away from home. And no cell
Yes.
phones then, only guitars and music systems in the house and long playing
E-
records.
Exactly. Like they are certainly very much confused about all these mixed signals, and at a point of time, being a kid, it they might want to break free from all these confusions and just be free, and probably take refuge in music. That's what they were doing at that point of time.
Absolutely, absolutely. So when the kids run away, they make sure the guitar runs away with them.
Exactly. Exactly.
So here we have two siblings and a guitar
Hmm.
hiding in some corner of the school where
Hmm.
they are found. If
Okay.
I remember the story right, but perhaps the story is very different from that.
And this good teacher,
This
the
good
one,
teacher has a way of prowling about.
yes, he's the kind of teacher who lets you go out of the boundaries, but the kind of person that you were talking about, who's not watching over you to control you, but watching over you to, help you if you fall
You
down.
see, I
It's
couldn't
like that.
articulate any of that when I was 13 years old, but now you're articulating this for me.
Yeah, but then again, all those points were there. I
Hmm.
mean, that was pretty, um, you know, uh, unusual to
Hmm.
think for a 13-year-old kid. But then again, you thought about that.
I
You
thought about
created
that.
those characters.
But
Yes.
then my mother would tell me about her experiences in school, like they roamed around and they were not controlled.
Right.
So that was the only place they couldn't go was some flower beds, which one they had nuns. And these nuns were not controlling. which is very funny because anytime I hear about schools with nuns, now I hear that they're controlling. But
You see, that's also a prejudice, probably. We hear things and we create a picture,
hmm,
and probably in reality the things are a bit different
hmm,
from what we hear.
hmm.
So probably that's what happened back then as well.
But you see, like
uh,
you have these nuns now in a particular very well-known college who impose a dress
hmm.
code on the students.
Yes.
But when my mother studied in school, they had a
Hmm.
uniform, okay, but they didn't have otherwise a dress code. My mother put flowers from her garden in her hair and went to school like that.
Yes.
And
Now that also happens.
there was no objection to that.
Yes.
Girls
uh,
would put flowers, South Indian girls put flowers in,
yes.
and they had no objection to that. They had no objection to your wearing earrings or whatever. And suddenly when I go to school, this has to be the regulation earring, these have to be the kind of socks, you have to have so many, you have to have x number of braids and not y number of braids. So all that becomes quite ridiculous. And in school already, despite good teacher, bad teacher, that aspect is done away with. That
Exactly.
aspect is already not there in the school. Hence, the
Exactly.
bad teacher stands out as a bad teacher and not as an average teacher.
Right.
Because basically, the bad teacher criticizes this teenage boy for
Forcefully tries to mold.
no, he criticizes him for having long hair and playing music.
Okay, something that I can relate to when I was in
Something you
school, but
can
okay.
relate to, something you can absolutely relate to. And
I did not
that's
have this long hair back then, but then again, yes,
so I
often
mean,
I forgot to cut my hair.
that is your main point of criticism of a person. And then how do you expect a person to grow into an individual?
Yes, exactly. I mean, before judging their character, before judging how they are responding to situations, you are judging them by, how long your hair is,
Hmm.
um, whether you're doing this or that, or the entire physical appearance.
Yes.
Before making that person a human being, you're um, dressing that person up, and you're packaging the entire thing. You're packaging the product before the product is even created.
Hmm. And this bad teacher was somewhat modeled on a friend's mother,
Okay.
who was
Okay.
this kind of a prig and prim and proper person who would be constantly, what sort of music are these people listening to? They should listen to Robindra Sangeet, or they should listen to Mozart, that kind of thing. So
The
and
elitist.
critical of the way the critical of the way, I mean, no one was allowed to dress like that in school, but the moment people got out of school, they went quite wild. So,
Exactly.
like, your immediate batch of seniors would suddenly look very unruly the moment they got out of school. And they would come back to school and show you how unruly they look.
See, I mean, these kind of people, I think they fail to understand one point. For example, you said Mozart. Let's stick to that point. Let's say Beethoven or Mozart. If some person wants their kids to not listen to rock music or heavy metal, and listen to let's say Beethoven.
Hmm.
Uh, if you go by the story of Beethoven when he introduced the tritone into music,
You told
that
me
was
not
very
even 30 years
that was
ago.
very rebellious back then.
Yes.
Beethoven himself was rebellious, so
But he
what
was
are these
not,
elitists
but,
trying to
but
prove?
he was not in one of these schools.
Yes, exactly. I
Hmm.
mean, you're telling your kids to listen to someone who
Who was
was
a
probably
rebellious?
more rebellious than your kids.
Well, if you're telling someone to listen to Tagore, and for God's sake, what did Tagore say? He spoke of narrow
Exactly.
domestic walls. He said, where the mind
Exactly.
is without fear. So what? So you decide what your children should fear and what they should not fear. That is also
See,
dictated to them.
such an
That
irony. That's such
that
an
is
irony,
what
no?
I rebelled against. That who are you to tell me what to fear?
Exactly.
And this has played through my life, right through my life. Who are you to tell me what to fear? I fear what I fear, and I try to
Exactly.
get over that fear. And if I see you fearing something, I try to hold your hand and take you through that fear, which is why I am doing this healing work now,
Exactly.
to help you overcome that fear. One of my huge inspirations is that poem by Tagore. And I don't
Where the
see
mind is
I
without
don't
fear and the head
I
is held
don't
high.
I don't
Yes.
I have taken it far beyond any patriotic context or anything.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
Because like
probably.
it's not that you talk of narrow domestic walls and then you erect a narrow international wall. That won't do. You knock down the walls, you knock down all the walls. You see, this is
Exactly.
what our double standard is, that okay, this wall is okay, that wall is not okay.
Right. I mean, who
Who
decides?
are you to decide? I decide what
Exactly.
my boundaries are.
Exactly.
Just a minute. I will just check out on the water.
Absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Yep, I'm back. Unmute, unmute.
Yes.
Yep. Normally, you're not allowed to eat in class, but I'm going to eat in class.
A sweet little rebellion.
Oh, well, this is my class, huh, and your class. Who's anybody else to decide who eats and who doesn't? Or what we do with our hair? That's my biggest
I
crib.
was sent I was sent to the salon from school to, get get my hair cut.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
it
schools
happens with me.
typically do all those things. Very high nuisance value. If schools got their focus off that and got their focus onto real education,
Exactly.
critical
Exactly.
thinking, where did that go?
Exactly. I
They're so
mean,
scared of that.
yeah, I mean, that's something our species is known for, critical thinking. And that's what they're barring.
That's what they're barring, and the whole point of
Exactly.
going to school is critical thinking.
Exactly.
You should be able to ask what's with the head. You should be able to stand up and ask that question, and they should be able to give you a convincing answer.
You see,
Your
that's
hair is
that's
perfectly okay if there are no lice in it. Period. Why should your socks be till your knees or not till your knees?
yeah, I mean, I
What
don't know
sense does
why.
it make? What sense does it make? What sense does
Doesn't make
wearing
any
a
sense.
uniform make? I mean, have a special day where everyone wears the uniform and feels okay, we are this school. Or let them wear a badge. The
I
amount of
mean,
pressure this uniform puts on the parents is not funny.
it's not only the pressure that puts on the parents, it's also it's also a mindset that it puts on kids, very subtly,
Mm,
in a very subtle manner that
mm.
you are not different from anybody. You're all the same, and
You're all the same.
you're meant to fit in, and that's the message it carries. The
Another
uniform.
brick
That's
in the wall. What would
Yes.
happen if one brick were a little awkward? The whole wall would come down.
Yeah.
Back
I
to
mean,
walls, back to walls. The very thing that
yeah.
I want coming down.
Yeah. I mean that should be the motive, no, breaking down the walls.
Not exactly breaking
Why the wall?
down. I mean, you can gently melt them down, right? You can gently
Yeah, I
break
mean,
them down and recycle the bricks to build the walls of someone's house, which can give them shelter.
exactly.
Not a wall which divides people, like a fence,
Exactly.
like
The
an
walls that
electric fence.
divide people and the walls that give you shelter.
Yes, there's a
So yeah,
difference there.
there's a difference. There's a huge difference
So
there.
if you're all lined up like that, you are essentially creating a wall that divides people because you're being
Yes.
possibly made to feel that you're all the same and you're not.
Yeah. When you're not. When actually you're not.
Your meeting will end in 10 minutes. I don't know where time goes on Zoom. Seriously. I mean, Zoom wants money. Okay. Zoom wants money. The school also wants money because you know why? Because you will get
Everybody
this
wants money.
uniform from this tailor
Yeah, that's
and
also a
you
thing
will
that
get
that
these
happens a
shoes
lot.
from this shoe shop. What does that make you think? You spoke about corruption. Sometime back, you were speaking about corruption. This is a form of corruption.
Yeah, it is. It is a form of corruption. It's a form of manipulation. Yes, it is.
Yes.
Definitely is.
And this would always, my mother would say that no, a school uniform is egalitarian, blah, blah, blah. Well, yes, a dirty school uniform is egalitarian because you're leveling
That's
down to the lowest level. A shabby school uniform is egalitarian, not a posh school uniform which has to be maintained in a certain style.
Yeah, I mean, hygiene is a different thing. That's to
Yes,
keep you
yes,
healthy. That is a different
yes,
thing. But
yes.
reforming what you should be, what you could be, and then
And
dictating
the
you what you should be. That's
same mother of mine would say, when I went to college, there were girls
hmm
who they were not well-to-do girls. They had two cotton
hmm
saris.
hmm
They didn't have either time or money to launder those saris.
hmm
Clean saris, washed, dried out, not even ironed. Absolutely spanking clean. They wore them and came to college. And my mother said this with a lot of admiration.
yes.
So then that
I
same
mean,
mother who says that with admiration suddenly says the school
hmm.
uniform. So what changes between the age of 16.9999 and 17.001? Suddenly you can wear that and go to college, whereas before that you had to wear whatever it is and go to school. It's not like that, no?
Yeah, I mean this illusion of someone being powerless and someone being powerful is being imposed upon you
Hmm.
again in a very subtle manner from the
Hmm.
very beginning.
Hmm. This is all very deep, Roger. I wonder if our
Yes.
audience will relate to at least a part of it, but I hope they do. Well,
Yeah, they certainly will because
we are yet to come to
every
the say. What were you saying?
I mean everybody has gone through this. This I mean the people who are imposing these things are not the people who made these rules. The people who made these rules, they died long back probably, but then again, now that we are trying to see why these rules were imposed in the first place, and then it became a habit, it became a culture, a linear motion, we couldn't break through it. Now that we are seeing it, I think the audience will understand the point of this entire discussion.
These rules are about taming,
Yes,
domestication.
definitely. Domesticate
I mean, people came
your
to a point where they
wilderness.
cut off their dog's tails. Imagine.
Yes, they do. These people do.
So I'm amazed that these people don't just cut off your hair, but also cut off your ears. Hear no evil. You know how often in school you're told If you don't stop talking, I'll put sellotape on your mouth.
Yes.
Well, school is not all bad. School can be lovely in
No,
a lot
it's
of ways. There are all
school
these
can be
there
lovely.
are all these hidden gems in school, and as with the
Definitely.
corporate life I told you about, one thing you come out
Mhm.
learning is how not to do things.
Yes, definitely.
And I think that is a big
Definitely.
part of education.
Yeah, it
Whether
is.
they encourage you
You
to
have a
think
lot to learn
critically
from
or not,
everywhere.
you are thinking critically. No one can stop
Yes.
your thinking. No one can stop what goes on inside your head.
Right now we are thinking critically,
Yes,
no?
and whether we write the alien or not,
Mhm.
we
You
have
need
thought,
to.
all of us have thought the alien in our heads.
Yes, we have.
I just had the skill to write it, and the best part of it is I wrote it and it was highly appreciated by my mother.
I don't know. It should come out
And
for
she
the
said,
entire world to see, you
wait,
know.
now we have to extend this chat show to part three because I'm going to tell you about the alien revisited. And that is quite
Okay.
exciting.
There's a.
Yes,
Okay.
because this is your theme of corruption also coming in.
Okay. Yeah. I mean,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
That's what I was asking
Corruption,
about the
money
theme of
making,
corruption
all the rest of it. You,
and
you
the power struggle.
yes, you
Yes.
were leading to that. You were leading to that. So anyway,
Yes.
I'm giving away all my stories to the public. I hope somebody doesn't steal all this and make a movie out of it without because we live
No,
in
the
that,
movie.
we live
I
in.
hope the movie is gonna be made by you only.
I will make the
I
movie. I'm
want it.
determined to make the movie. These sort of movies can even be made with a phone. It's the theme that matters. It is the way you portray the characters. They don't require a lot.
Yes.
They don't require.
Absolutely.
I can use this
Absolutely.
ladder as a prop. Somebody is asking me, what is that object in front of the ladder? And I told them, well, that is my doppelganger sleeping when I'm awake doing the chat show. Because it actually looks like, somebody who has been laid to rest in style. If you
Yes.
notice.
Now that you say it, I see it in
Yes,
that
well,
way.
but the truth about the ladder and my doppelganger are reserved for a much later chat show where I will introduce Project Hearthfire. That's not the
Ah,
subject
yes.
of this chat show. Project Hearthfire is very, very important. It is at the heart of all the work I'm doing, and there is not only myself and the people around me in need of healing, there is my home and my heritage and my relationship with these, which are also in need of healing.
And I'm sure that's gonna
And I
be
think
one
this
of the
ladder, the
most
stairway
important
to
chat shows
heaven,
that we do.
yes, yes. And the stairway to heaven and that doppelganger sleeping over there, the doppelganger is actually innocent. The wicked one is sitting and talking here into the camera. and and we will call this, we will call it a day on this chapter, and we will,
Yes.
act one, scene two is hereby over. So take your bow,
Right.
Roger, and we are going to come back on act two, scene one. Fast
Right.
forward to 2006. Fast forward to the new millennium and yet another alien, another story of alienation.
Right.
Yes, and
Okay.
then we will come to Act 3 in our next chat show, which will be about 2023 and the final chapter of the alienation story, which is going to be the
Nice.
most exciting one. Once we are done
Nice.
with all these stories, we will move on to Project Hearthfire. So maybe at this
Exactly.
we'll do two chat shows a week. But anyway, bye for now before Zoom throws us out. Bye bye.
Yes. Bye bye.